U.S. and Philippines promise will war fight China after China send 275 ships to South China Sea. President Rodrigo Duterte has warned China his troops would launch suicide missions against their immensely more powerful foe. It's a tactic not seen since the dying days of World War II, desperate soldiers, sailors and pilots flinging themselves at their enemies in suicide attacks. But Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte has warned of the return of the kamikaze, or divine wind, tactics of the Japanese. Describing his dilemma in dealing with an immensely more powerful China in territorial disputes in the South China Sea, the president said he has few options other than to order troops to prepare for suicide missions. He was referring to recent moves by Beijing to surround the island of Thitu, or also known as Pag-asa, with some 270 fishing militia and Coast Guard vessels, both of which are controlled by the Chinese People's Liberation Army. The Philippines Department of Foreign Affairs in a statement last week that their presence was illegal and a clear violation of Philippine sovereignty. Duterte reminded China in a speech yesterday of its closer ties under his leadership, but said the island occupied by Filipinos in the disputed waters was threatened. Things would be different. Let us be friends, but do not touch Pag-asa Island and the rest, Duterte said in a speech to public officials. I will not plead or beg, but I am just telling you that lay off the Pag-asa because I have soldiers there. If you touch that, that's a different story. I can tell my soldiers, prepare for suicide missions. The island of Thitu has a small military garrison as well as a fishing village for some 100 civilians. The coral outcrop sits some 500 kilometers from Palawan, the closest mainland island of the Philippines. The dispute has flared ever since Beijing began aggressively building remote reefs into artificial islands and placing extensive fortifications upon them. It has been observed that Chinese vessels have been present in large numbers and for sustained and recurring periods, what is commonly referred to as swarming tactics, raising questions about their intent as well as concerns over their role in support of coercive objectives, the Philippine Department of Foreign Affairs statement said. Earlier in the week, Philippine Military Chief General Benjamin Madrigal Jr. said Beijing's incursions were becoming a serious concern. President Duterte has adopted a non-confrontational approach in territorial spats with China while seeking infrastructure funds and investment. I need China. More than anybody else at this point, I need China, the president said before visiting Beijing last year. He has repeatedly said opposing Beijing's territorial demands was pointless because of its immense military and economic strength. But recent attempts by China to muscle its way in on fishing grounds and islands traditionally accessed by the Philippines has made many of his citizens uneasy. Duterte has largely ignored a victory by the previous Philippine government in 2016 that found China's occupation of the reefs, and its declaration that they now constituted islands under their sovereign control, invalid. But he has since come under increasing criticism for taking too soft a stance towards Beijing, and winning little in the way of investment in compensation. The Philippine president, in his latest outburst against critics, warned he would declare a revolutionary government and arrest his detractors if he is pushed against the wall. President Duterte made the threat yesterday in a speech in which he expressed exasperation with criticism while trying to fight criminality. Duterte has been known for provocative remarks, which his spokesmen have often downplayed as hyperbole. The president should know that employing tactics from the Marcos playbook does not end well, Rosales said, referring to Ferdinand Marcos, the late Philippine dictator who was ousted in a 1986 popular revolt.